ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I am one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, don't have a ton in the news, but something newsworthy that's been happening all this past week. Hollywood is boycotting Russia. We'll get to that. Trailer talk this week. You know, there is a new Morbius trailer. number 12 Morbius trailer. So no trailer talk this week. We don't care. New streaming list, first week of the month. So it is going to be a pretty solid list. We'll get to what we're watching, of course. And then our main review for the episode, The Power of the Dog. He's a very powerful dog, guys. His name's Clifford. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today by Netflix Nathaniel Gingrich.
Hello, I'm Netflix Nathaniel.
Paying subscriber to Netflix.
Sure, allegedly.
Allegedly. Not sharing anyone's password.
No, never.
No. Power of the Dog exclusive to Netflix. Still getting the Oscar nom. That was quite contentious with Roma. What was it, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, what was it,
I think 2019.
2019? Probably, yeah.
Maybe 2019 or 2018, I think.
Somewhere in there.
Wasn't 2020. That's for sure.
That is true.
2019
Yeah. I mean, but then they also had The Irishman last year too, didn't they? Wasn't that one last year too?
I think they just decided they were going to let it through. I mean, obviously they did, but
yeah.
there was like a backlash from a lot of I think like a lot of directors, probably like Scorsese was one of them. Like don't
throwing things at Scorsese now.
Yeah, exactly.
He made The Irishman.
True, that's true. I didn't think about that. Who was it? I don't know. There was some big director that had something to say about it.
Yeah, well,
I remember correctly.
Don't ask 70-year-old directors their opinion on the internet.
Right. Also joining me today, it's native trading Tyler Vidalis.
I'm a native trader.
Yeah.
Like trading at Trade Tour.
Yeah, not yeah. With a D, not a T.
Yeah.
We strive for the best audio quality here, but that was probably a good one to back yourself up on there.
100%, yeah. How you doing, Ty?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Fucking tired. Sorry, tired. I'm just tired. I need to
Hey, man. That's okay.
But you know what? I feel like this time it was justified. I've had a long day, a long semester already, and we're not even halfway through, and it's only going to get worse from here. So, man. Need a break.
Yeah. Everyone does.
Yeah. Spring break, though, only, 3 weeks away from this week? So, not too far.
No, that's not bad.
You get a full week off for spring break?
Yep. I believe it's the 26th through the 2nd or something like that.
Not bad.
Yeah. Not bad. I'll just be coming home, working, chilling. Not doing anything too special. But hey, I just need a break from school, like for real. So that's all I need. And that last voice over there, it's big burn the hides, BlakeHolder.
Hey, what up?
How you doing, man?
Good, bro. Did some moving this week, as I kind of
I was about
told
to say,
you all earlier.
House is coming along. Condo, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, slowly but surely. So did some moving with the help of a few friends this weekend. I was telling, actually, Ty was actually there when I purchased those mouse pads, so I set up that desk, Ty.
Nice.
And put the mouse pads over it. Yep. So 2 of them did the job perfect, pretty much textbook. So shout out to you on that. So yeah, I got that rolling. Now I'm waiting on my bedroom furniture to be delivered, as well as my mattress.
Nice, bro.
So yeah, slowly but surely, I'm sure I'll be in there probably by the next week. Once I kind of get a mattress on there. I don't really feel like sleeping on the floor, to be honest. I think I'll just
that makes sense.
At my parents' place. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, man, pretty excited. So once I get that rolling, we'll be good to go. And yeah, you guys, by the time you get back here for spring break, Adam, it should definitely be in motion. So you guys can definitely pull up, and we'll be able to kick it there. Maybe record an episode there too. So
new Back Row satellite office coming soon.
Yes, sir.
Currently under construction.
Yeah, give us a few weeks. We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there. All right, well, let's get on into the news here, guys. Really not a ton of news this week, except for Russia potentially starting a huge war in Europe. I mean, it's right now just between Russia and Ukraine, but who knows how this escalates. But the entertainment side of that is several studios and several movies getting pulled from their Russian releases. Paramount has pulled Sonic 2 and The Lost City. Warner Bros. Pulled The Batman, so that was a pretty swift decision. And let's see who else. Universal pulls the release of Bad Guys and Michael Bay's Ambulance, which is the Jake Gyllenhaal joint. Ooh, that's fun to say. Jake Gyllenhaal joint. I don't know if I've ever used that term before, but every time I mention Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm adding joint onto it.
All right.
Mental note.
Yeah. Yeah, Warner Bros. Also has Fantastic Beasts and The Secrets of Dumbledore for April 14th, and then DC League of Super Pets. I guess it's coming to theaters. So we'll see what they decide to do there.
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, if I had to guess, those are probably gonna get pushed. We don't know for sure, but I don't know if this conflict's getting resolved with a nice tidy bow anytime soon. And then the other big news outside of like movies releases and everything is Formula One has canceled their Russian race.
The Russian Grand Prix, yes, they have.
The Russian Grand Prix. I didn't know exactly what it's called. I don't know if it had a fancy name like the Nuremberg Ring or anything like that, but yeah, Russian Grand Prix is canceled, which is all understandable. These are all very understandable decisions following, of course, the invasion of a sovereign nation. I mean, what else do you expect, Putin? Come on. So yeah, I mean, these are all what you would kind of expect them to do following everything that's happened. I don't know if the entertainment industry sanctioning Russia in this way is going to do much compared to like economic sanctions or anything that like the EU or NATO can do. But hey, anything small that we can
who knows,
poke at them or just All right. Well, I don't have much else to say on these stories. I don't know.
Kind of a tricky week overall, isn't it?
Kind of a scary week. We're obviously not political analysts, although I kind of study political science, but there's not much to add to the situation. It sucks. We, wish the best to everyone that is still in Ukraine, and hopefully that situation gets resolved swiftly, and with Russia just holding the tail between their legs back to the other side of the border. But we'll see. This is like Nathaniel said, something that doesn't seem like it's going away anytime soon. I'm tired of these like world history events happening in such a small space of time.
Is that what it is, or are we just like always constantly paying attention to them now, and so now there's more of them that we know about?
I think stuff like this has always been going on, but then just with social media and everybody having like a camera or computer in their hand at all times, you can just see it all, which is very insightful, but like terrifying as well. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think information is traveling faster, and I think it's causing events to be noticed more, of course, and potentially causing these events to like stack up on top of each other because things are happening quicker because information is traveling faster. But in the past 3 years, we've had a pandemic, a social movement of Black Lives Matter that was met with like protests and everything like that, and now an invasion of a sovereign country by Russia and potentially war in Eastern Europe. Like,
true, that's not something you see every year.
Exactly, those are 3 very heavy things that have happened in less than 2.5 years. Like, wow.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and who knows where this thing is going? Because not just like Russia and Ukraine, but like I feel like these events are not going to stop happening. We've had like every year's gotten worse since like 2016. Everyone's like, 2018 will be better. 2018 comes around, 2019 will be better, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse. But maybe that's just me.
I think we're all with you, man. It's a tough times to be an understatement.
Yeah, can't we just have like a good year for once, where like everyone's friends and holds hands?
We tried that in Us.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say. Maybe we were just.
What's crazy is that movie came out in 2019, and that just seems so long ago.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
So much has happened, man.
Was it Get Out 2017? That feels like it was.
Yeah,
15
yeah,
years ago.
right.
That's pushing 5 years.
Holy shit, that's only long time ago.
But
right,
we've got Nope coming out in 2022, so.
True. And for the Russian listeners out there, you're not seeing it. Most likely.
Sorry, Russian listeners.
Moving on here. No trailer talk, as I said before, as we can get into the completely subjective new to streaming list for the
completely subjective, you say?
Yes. For those of you who do not know, there's a lot of things that come to these streaming services every week, but not all of them are really worth watching. Some of them are just garbage. So I kind of filter them for you. The ones I have handpicked subjectively that are potentially worth checking out. So to Netflix. 21, the Kevin Spacey movie from 2008 about blackjack.
Bold choice to just lead off right away with your completely subjective list with Kevin Spacey movie. But yeah, I do like this movie.
Hey, it's at the top of the news stream.
Oh, yeah. You know? It was just funny how that just lined up on there. Yeah, I used to like this movie a lot. Yeah, it was fun.
I did too before everything happened, of course.
Yeah. Big old asterisk.
Yes, exactly. 21 Bridges, A Nightmare on Elm Street from 2010, and the original from 84.
You ever see those? Probably not, right?
I was going to ask, have you seen that, Adam?
I've not seen either of those.
Have you seen those, Ty?
That's Freddy Krueger, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Ty? Is he here even?
I am here.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Have you seen those?
I have not.
Okay.
Oh, really? I'm sure you've seen the OG, right, Nathaniel?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah. And the new one too, I think, actually.
Yeah, the new one's pretty bad. I actually think they filmed some of that in Elgin.
Why do I think? Yeah, I feel like I've heard that too.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one's a classic, but it's not scary at all by today's standards. Like, Adam, you could watch it and you just won't really get scared, but it's such a good idea.
Yeah, that's one they got to bring back and for requel. I guess that's a term we're using now or something.
I'm sure.
I love that term. I will keep using it. I have no shame.
Shout out Scream.
Yeah, right? Shout out Wes Craven.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we'll see. Give it to us. Give it to us, New Line.
Also coming to Netflix is Battleship from 2012.
Let's go, Rihanna.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
That is the Rihanna. I always get that movie confused with what's the movie? Oh my gosh, I can see the scene in my head. They're like on a bus. It's like an alien invasion.
Battle LA.
Is it Battle Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Yes, I always get those mixed up. I don't know why.
They're both called Battle.
I guess. Yeah.
Could be it. Also getting Contagion, Due Date, Gattaca, Public Enemies, Shrek 1 and Shrek 2. Sorry to bother you. with Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah.
Starship Troopers, Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Worst Texas Chainsaw movie ever.
But it's in 3D, man.
Hey, Starship Troopers, though. Yeah. Don't just glance over
Starship Troopers is a fucking gem.
That could be one that we do in a couple weeks. Just a little food for thought there.
Ooh.
I don't even know what that's about.
Oh my god!
I don't
tell me anything. You're not
like
gonna,
a classic comedy.
Nothing. You don't get to know anything.
Oh man! All right, I'm all ears.
All right. Also coming, it's The Green Mile, The Shawshank Redemption, Top Gun, V for Vendetta, Where the Wild Things Are, Zoolanders, and rounding out the list for Netflix is Against the Ice. This is Nikolai Coster-Waldau and Joe Cole star in this thriller set at the turn of the last century where a Danish expedition sets out to disprove the United States' claim on Greenland.
Interesting.
So, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, Jamie from Game of Thrones. Haven't seen him in much since then.
And
but
Joe
he's a
Cole's,
great actor, so... What'd you say?
I think Joe Cole, isn't he the one from Green Room?
Is he?
I think he's like either the drummer or the lead singer.
He does look familiar. Let me check here. He's in Peaky Blinders, as I'm seeing here on his IMDb. I don't see. Oh, there it is. Green Room. He's Reese. I don't know which character that was.
That is the drummer.
Yeah, sounds about right. Is he the one that snaps the arm?
Correct.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah.
that was a brutal scene. Sorry, spoilers, I guess, for Green Room.
Someone gets
movie.
their arm broken.
Great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, coming to Amazon Prime, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer. Have any of you guys
Sweet.
seen that?
Yeah.
No, I have not. Everyone say it's like surprisingly pretty cool though.
I've
I
heard
would
it's
actually
like-
say
yeah.
you should go watch it.
Yeah.
I've also heard that it's like actually surprisingly decent. Blackfish, Nathaniel, that's like your favorite documentary ever, right?
One of, yeah.
Yeah. I need to watch that one because I've been really into docs lately.
That, oh man, if
So-
you haven't seen that one, yeah, that's just
I've not.
just
so I
killed
might put that
SeaWorld.
one on.
It just absolutely 100% just headshotted SeaWorld.
It's
Yeah.
bonkers.
That's awesome. When a film can do something like that big. Crash from 2005, Dead Poet Society, Romeo and Juliet, Hitchcock, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Prometheus, Office Space, Spaceballs, also getting Super Troopers, The Heat, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, The Princess Bride, The Tooth Fairy, Weekend at Bernie's, and Zathura, A Space Adventure, which is like Jumanji in space. I really like that one, actually.
Heaters, bro.
Yeah, and then Lucy and Desi, an Amazon original movie. This is covering Lucille Ball and her husband, What is his full
Desi
name? I don't
Arnaz.
remember. Desi Arnaz, yeah.
That's the one with
So-
Just
Nicole Kidman.
go
I
ahead,
think.
Nathaniel.
I said, I'm sorry. I said I think that's the one that has Nicole Kidman, and is it Javier Bardem that's in that one? That's playing Desi.
Let me see.
And did that get nominated for an Oscar?
I don't believe so. I don't remember.
Okay.
It said it came out in 2020 according to my Google search here, so I don't know if it could have been, considered for, or sorry, 2022. This is it's a documentary, actually.
No. No way.
That's
is
what
it?
I'm looking at here, unless it's a different thing than what you're thinking of.
It is a different thing than what I'm thinking of. The thing I'm thinking of is called Being the Ricardos.
Ah,
It is also on Prime Video. So
oh. You
There
know
you
what?
go.
I can't blame you for that one. Can't blame you for that one. Close. Very
Yeah.
close.
Before we head off, I think you skipped one. They also have Chronicle coming to
Ah,
Amazon
I did.
Ooh,
Thank you
nice.
for catching that.
which I had to throw that in there just because that's a I like that movie.
Is that
found footage
J.J.
one, too.
Abrams?
no, that's Josh Trank,
Mm,
who then tranked his own career.
yikes.
He did the Fantastic Four reboot.
Yeah, Fan
Oh.
Four Stick.
And Four
Okay,
Stick,
that might have
yes.
been. That might have been
Also having Michael B. Jordan. So,
Yeah.
True.
but yeah, Chronicle, good man. That's one I haven't seen in probably closest since it came out, which is
I've
like
never
10
seen it.
years ago.
But I
Really?
feel like that's a movie I'd really enjoy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Even
Found
when it
footage,
came
just-
out, yeah, even when it came out, I was like, oh, this like looks really good, and then it got good
Yeah.
reviews. I was like, I should go see this, and it just never
Yeah,
did.
That's a
definitely.
good movie.
One of those, yeah. It was that one in Super 8. I think that might have been the one that.
That was
Abrams
J.J. Abrams.
produced.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
J.J.
With
Abrams.
the aliens.
That was Aliens, yeah. To coming to Hulu, they're also getting Crash. Here Comes the Boom, Starship Troopers, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, The Princess Bride, The Talented Mr. The Talented Mr. Ripley, Tim Burton's Corpse Bride, and Oculus.
Good movie.
Ooh.
Oculus is decent, not terrible.
Oh, you've seen that?
Yeah, that one. That's one of like the early ones that I'd seen. That was like I was hanging out with a bunch of friends. It was like, oh, let's put on a horror movie. That kind of thing.
Right.
So yes,
Yeah.
I have seen at least.
Was
most
that your
of
first Mike Flanagan movie?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I guess it would have been then. Yeah, it was like one of the
Yeah.
first horror movies I've ever seen. Like right when I could actually watch them.
Yeah.
HBO Max is getting the Euphoria season 2 finale and the Righteous Gemstones season 2 finale. I know Euphoria is up. I'm assuming is Righteous Gemstones up as well. When do those air?
Yeah, that's definitely out.
Sunday. Okay, cool. So both those are up already. Boys in the Hood,
Ooh.
solid. One Tree Hill, Resident Evil, they got a whole slew of Resident Evils here. So Resident Evil Afterlife, Resident Evil Apocalypse, Resident Evil Damnation, Resident Evil Extinction, and Resident Evil Retribution. I don't know if that's all of them, but that's
No,
6.
I know there's a couple more recent ones, I think. Because the last one...
Yeah, it's not. The latest one of those is 2012.
One of those says 2021.
Oh, it does. You're right. I just totally...
I think
misread
Damnation
that.
might be animated.
Oh, okay.
Right. I also think the Resident Evil 1996, I think that's animated as well.
I do not know. I've not seen any of these.
So I think the live action first one, I think that's like 2000.
Has to be.
That nature.
Yeah, that sounds about right. They're also getting Starship Troopers in Starship Troopers 2, Hero of the Federation. Everyone's getting Starship Troopers this month. What the hell?
Disney Plus, Starship Troopers.
No, unfortunately not. They're getting The Aviator as well, Blade 2, West Side Story, the new one, Spielberg. So that's a Oscar nom. So if you're interested in that, go HBO. Gaming Wall Street. This is a documentary about the GameStop stock that skyrocketed last year. Or was it? Yeah, it would have been last year, right? That like sent everyone in a panic on Wall Street because they were about to lose so much money because they just hyperinflated the stock of GameStop. Yeah, so this is like a 2-part documentary that kind of explains what happened. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, that's there. And then rounding out HBO Max's list is F9: The Fast Saga, a BlakeHolder favorite.
We'll live for that.
And then Disney Plus is only getting, they're also getting West Side Story, the same one as HBO Max. Yeah, you don't see that too often. Most of the things that come to Disney Plus are only to Disney Plus.
Must be an old Fox deal or something.
Yeah, maybe. So that's it for your new to streaming list. But there are other things out there to watch on the streaming services. What have you guys been watching here? I'm going to kick it off with one Tyler the Dallas, as long as he's available and as long as he's still here. I can't see him on camera.
I am here. Yeah, no, I'm here.
He's in the dark.
Yeah, I got my light turned off, so I'm just kind of chilling.
Yeah, no, you're good. I could see like the top glint of your headphones, and like that was my only hint.
Although it's like it's bright in here, it's just my camera's turned down for some reason. But whatever.
Maybe you got to turn up that ISO.
Whatever, dude. It's still just a webcam, so
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I honestly haven't really gotten around to a whole lot. I did get around, and this has been basically the main thing that has kind of captivated my week. But Leah and I started Inventing Anna on Netflix.
Okay, I keep seeing that pop up.
It's good. You were gonna say me and Leah have been inventing a board game. I don't know why, but I was just like. My brain was prepared.
That's around the corner. It's in the plans. It's just this week we're watching Inventing Anna.
I'm just saying, think about it. This could be your money grabber, man. You guys should invent your own board game.
Interesting. I'm not mad at it.
Well, keep it in your back pocket.
But yeah, if you haven't watched this, I definitely recommend it. And if you have watched this, let me know what you think. Because I'm captivated by it. I'm very interested.
Is it acted as well, or is it like a documentary, or is it just like a retelling?
It's acted, but it's supposed to be. It's pretty cool because the whole time you're watching this, it's they keep saying everything in this is true.
Got it.
Except for the things that are fake. So I don't think they're really going to tell you kind of how everything wrapped up until the end, and they might not even tell you. But this is based off of shit that actually happened. And it's played by the, I don't know her name, but she plays Ruth in the Ozarks. And she does a phenomenal job. She did great.
She's great. She's a great actor.
Yeah.
Or actress, I guess. Her name is
Julia
Garner.
Something like that. Yeah. Julia Garner.
Garner, yep.
So yeah, she's been doing really, really great. And I think we got like 2 more episodes left, but so far I am just like, what the fuck is happening and when do I get to find out?
Yeah. As luck would have it, I listened to a podcast about that whole thing 3 weeks before that started coming out. So I know the whole story. But
Nice.
crazy story. I think I may watch the show just to kind of check out and see how they present everything. Because is it in chronological order, or is it
Yeah, it's pretty cool because there's a journalist that's writing a story about it, and she's trying to get her reputation back essentially, and this is kind of her story that she wants to get an exclusive for. So she's riding along with Anna kind of the whole time, and she's interviewing friends and kind of getting everybody's different point of views of what happened in certain situations throughout the show and everything like that. So it's pretty cool to see her kind of put everything together with the help of other people through her investigating.
That sounds neat.
So, but yeah, highly recommend for me. So, and then honestly,
How many episodes?
I think there's 10.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 10.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the only other thing I got around to is Vikings Valhalla.
Yeah.
Which I keep seeing advertised.
It is good. I only got done with the first episode, and I'm enjoying it so far. They do a really good job at kind of explaining where the timeline is in comparison to Vikings, and this is basically 100 years later.
So
Ragnar, yeah, and none of the original characters are in it.
I was gonna say, I thought you said last week that it was 30 or 40, but so it's a long time later.
Yeah, so I was hoping that maybe they were going to tie some people in, and I don't know if they still will through spiritual
visions or something,
forthcomings or what have you. But yeah, this is essentially about 100 years later, and now all hell is kind of breaking loose. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, other than that, just the power of the dog. So I will. I'll let Nathaniel go.
Okie dokie.
What you been watching, dude?
Got to a couple things. I finished The Wire, but Blake's away from the microphone right now, so I'll save that for us to talk about that till he gets back. I got to Genius episode 2. Adam, did you watch that as well this week?
I did as well. Yes, and that I might have forgotten episode 3 on the what we're watching, or sorry, the newest streaming.
Oh
list.
yeah, that should be coming out soon. Let me double check
because I remembered that after we did it, and then let me see.
Okay, hang on. I think it's got to be coming out.
Save the links. All right, just keep talking and I'll figure it out.
Okie dokie. Yeah, I guess it was interesting because so far, and I guess mild spoilers if you aren't watching the thing, the documentary series. It's on Kanye West. The first episode was kind of his start and his rise, and then this was really kind of the creation around College Dropout and how they kind of almost made the album in secret, or were kind of working on it any chance they could, and in some pretty extreme circumstances, and then it seems that next week it's going to just accelerate almost to the last couple years or something like that. They're gonna basically skip over all of that middle part, which will be interesting. So I'm very interested to see how this finishes.
I hope they explain why that is, and hopefully it's a reason it's because they do kind of show in this episode that the filmmaker, I think his name's Cootie.
Yeah.
He started kind of blow up directing music videos.
Yeah, I wondered if that's going to be something along with it too.
Yeah, exactly. So potentially he had to start. He started doing that and could follow Kanye less, and maybe he just doesn't have footage from College Dropout to those further years that they're going to jump to. Maybe he just decided to do other things in between then. But I would have been all on board for seeing all those years in between. So I don't know how long he ended up following him for. Hopefully they explain that.
I'll be very interested how I end up feeling at the end of this overall. It
Yeah.
just seems like a really strange step, but we'll see. Have to wait
Yeah.
a couple more days here. Blake, while you were away, I did mention that I finished The Wire today. The whole thing. So I'm
Okay.
done with
Final
The
thoughts.
Wire.
If you could sum it up briefly.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the best shows ever. I mean, bar none, 100% up there. You know, people will argue that till the day they die, but I think it's absolutely one of the best shows ever made. Do you have a season rankings as far as like your favorites?
Ooh, I'd have to go back and rewatch it. I mean, I think
For sure.
season 2 is probably unanimously the worst because that's the docs, right?
Yeah, season 2 is the docs.
Most people are kind of low on that one. I really like the education system, which is 4?
Yep, that's 4.
I really like that one. I really like season 1 as well.
Yeah.
I'd
you
probably
just really like
go-
every season. Is that what?
Yeah,
and like-
relatively. I honestly don't really care for season 2, though. To be honest with you,
Seasons-
that's like a hurdle. That's the hurdle of the show.
Yeah.
Like if you get past that, then you'll be like, okay, I'm in. But
Season
you can
2 's
very
still
well
like
watch
in-
season 1, get to season 2, and then be like, it's not doing it for me.
I think hindsight being 2020, like season 2 is like an 8.5, and like everything else is like 10s. So like
for sure.
it's like tough in that thing. But I'm with you. I think my list goes like 1, 4, 3, 5, 2 probably.
Okay. Yeah.
But again, all of those are like better than anything else that's out there right now.
Yeah.
So
Right. For sure.
So I actually bought a book called The Oral History of the Wire. Which I've been reading as well too, which is kind of like a
you brought that up recently.
Yeah, behind the scenes where they kind of like talk to all the actors and talk about like who got cast and what that process was like and stories from the sets and all of that kind of stuff. So, great show. Recommend for everyone pretty much. Along with that, I got to 2 other movies last week besides The Power of the Dog. One of which was Mirai. Which was made by the same director as the guy that did Summer Wars, which I talked about a few weeks ago. This came out in 2018 and is currently on Netflix, and it is really, really good as well. It really kind of centers on like a 3 to 4-year-old as their main character. And it's kind of like him growing up, or the title character Mirai is his younger sister who is brought home and kind of how he has to deal with that. But it definitely falls into kind of that, magical things start happening, life lessons, kind of pretty happy, overall movie. But it was Japan's submission and Oscar nominee for Best Animated Feature. This year.
Past year?
2018.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018,
Okay.
2019 or whatever.
Gotcha.
But yeah, really good English dub as well too. Sorry about that. We have Rebecca Hall as the mother, Daniel Day Kim as the grandfather, John Cho in there as well too. So pretty big named actors and actresses as well too. So would recommend. And
Nice.
then the other movie I got to was also anime, and it was called Paprika. Tyler, have you heard of that one at all?
I have not.
Okay, yeah. This came out in 2006, and it is kind of like Inception in that there are, like, the base technology is that they've created a device where you can share dreams with other people together. As we pause for station identification, you are listening to 99.9 KYOT, the Coyote, smooth jazz. Are you guys back?
Yeah.
Let me pull up my camera here.
All right.
There we go. But as I was saying, yes, Paprika. So it's kind of like Inception, in which there are these machines in which you can share dreams with other people. But in Inception, where they're trying to insert another dream to somewhere else, in this movie, it's basically the dreams are getting out and kind of like taking or like splitting the world or entering our world as well too. And it's very, very interesting. Very, you know, it's anime, so it's out there, it's wild. They can do whatever they want, but definitely worth a watch, in my opinion, as well too. It's by a guy named Satoshi Kon, who I know a lot of people have talked about before. He did a movie called Perfect Blue, which I know is pretty big in anime circles. I haven't seen that yet, but both of these movies, I'm being a little bit vague too because I just really like the idea of going in blind recently, and but I recommend this to most folks. And other than that, it was Power of the Dog for me. But who do we got left? Blake, Adam, tell me what you watched this week.
You can take it, Blake.
Okay, cool. Didn't watch too much this week, to be honest. I got to 2 films. One I got to was actually one I've been meaning to get to, kind of on and off the past few years, and that's White Boy Rick. If any of you guys have seen that,
it's got Matthew McConaughey in it.
It is. So yeah, Matthew McConaughey is the dad, and it's pretty much about like Detroit in the '80s, black community, coke, crack, academic, all that type of stuff. And there's a teenage white guy and his dad, Matthew McConaughey, who like sell guns to the black community. Then he kind of gets into the drug game and goes on. But I mean, pretty interesting, and it's cool to see Matthew McConaughey play like a totally different role than what I'm used to seeing him play. And not a great movie by any means, but certainly watchable. It came out, I think, 2019. And yeah, overall pretty good. So it also has, I pardon me because I forgot the actor's name. I should have pulled it up. But she's in The King of Staten Island, and she plays Pete Davidson's love interest. She's the daughter.
Oh, okay. I remember her being really good in that movie.
Yeah. So yeah, she's pretty good. She plays like a heavy drug addict and things of that nature. So yeah, not bad. Kind of a heavy setting movie. After that, I watched one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life, and that's I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. So I've kind of been on here.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been on here for a few times talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer as being like super campy teen horror 90s classics.
Right.
Right, because some of the writers from Scream actually went on to make that series. And then they made the first 2, which came out. The first one, I think, is 97. Second one's maybe 98, 99. And then the third one was like a direct-to-DVD, sequel bullshit cash grab from like 2008. And it's fucking horrible. So yeah, that's one of the worst movies I've seen in a while. I almost cut it off, but it just turned into like a background movie like afterwards, you know what I mean? Once I wasn't interested. Yeah. But would not recommend. Very, very, very painful to watch. Outside of that, hella YouTube, as I was telling you guys, I found a guy's channel, and he pretty much just goes on there and reviews music with his dad. So it's really cool because it's a younger guy. He's probably about our age, I'd say, somewhere from 25 to 30 or so. And his dad really has all the ins and outs of music down in terms of pitch, tones, 808s, things of that nature, production and everything. And he kind of just goes through and reviews albums with his dad song by song. They got a pretty big following on there as well. Let me see if I can pull up their YouTube page for you. Give me one moment so I can at least give some credit. Anybody want to fill for me really quick?
Tyler, Phil. I already did my fill.
Not doing a good job this time, man.
This is the first time I've had to fill in God knows
how long. We just gotten so good at it.
That's perfect, though. You did it. I know. You did it. Because the YouTube page or YouTube channel is Turning the Tables. So it's a guy and his dad going about, and the one that came across to me, as you guys know, I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan, and it was To Pimp a Butterfly. And as they were kind of doing the introductions, and the dad mentioned this is the first hip hop album I've ever listened to. So it was really cool to kind of have him give a very high level opinion on music and how he views or how he listens to sound, pitch, Kendrick Lamar doing multiple voices and things of that nature. And To Pimp a Butterfly is a very interesting rap album to be your first rap album ever, because it's very like jazzy, boom bam bop type thing. You know what I mean?
Funky.
But yeah, he really liked it, so it was interesting. So I subscribed to him. So I'll go through and see what else they got on there. They got J. Cole album on
And
there.
what's
They
that?
got
What's
Tyler
that
Creator.
channel called again?
Turning the Tables.
Turning the Tables.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think you'll get a kick out of it. So yeah, they got Tyler the Creator
I
on
was gonna
there. They
say.
got The Weeknd, as well as like some rock albums and alternative albums too. So really cool. Like very thorough and everything as well. So that was cool. But that's not the best YouTube channel I came across recently. That goes to a channel I came across last week called Zoo Tier. So tier, like how you rank things like S tier, A tier, B tier. And it's pretty much a guy who's devoted his channel to ranking basically animals and their quote unquote class, right? Or genus. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Sure.
Yeah, I guess, or subfamily. I don't know the ins and outs of
yeah.
that. But he ranks them in tiers, right? And the way he breaks it down, though, it's so interesting because he explains it like it's a video game. So he explains everything as like, okay, we're talking about like we're ranking cats. That's the first one I saw, of course. And then it was like the meta of like Africa, right, would be the meta. And then there's a tier of cats in Africa. And then there's a meta of South America.
Oh,
and it was so interesting. And then eventually he put them all onto one. And the way he describes things is like, oh, like until the devs drop the patch note, and a patch note would be like a species going extinct, right? And it would be like, so that's when the devs dropped the patch note 2263, and that's when this species went extinct, and then this species was able to overcome. So yeah, really like minimal level to make anybody understand like the animal kingdom and like families of animals. But like super, super interesting, dude. So I've been like crazy binging that because he's got it on cats, rodents, insects, anything you can look at.
Bears.
Canines,
This sounds
bears,
like
everything, dude. It's so interesting, dude.
It sounds like it's combined your two favorite things, which is big animal facts and the world being a matrix. And like has given
so
you
good,
like
the
code to how if the world was the Matrix, how we would rank the animals in there.
Yeah. So it's awesome. Then like the way he describes things is like meta, and then like the servers are like region locked. So they go like this species is region locked to this server, and it's just like funny how he
just
describes
North
things,
America.
Yeah, right. So yeah, really cool. And then he did it for primates and everything as well. So obviously humans, right? I watched a video on like the full overview. Humans are S tier. They're the number one species. And then actually below them was going to be
dolphins.
It's actually killer whales. So you are correct for the most part, though, because I think they're in the same family. I forgot what that's called. Crustaceans. I think it's crustaceans or crustaceans.
Crustaceans are actually I don't know.
I thought it was
crustaceans were more
porpoise.
like. Yeah, you might be right. Porpoise.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They're definitely not crustaceans.
I don't think they're crustaceans. Porpoise. How do I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, nonetheless, you're awfully close though. But yeah, so he was saying how just like killer whales are just like super overpowered in their meta, and like that's how he like describes things, just because they have no natural predators and things of that nature, because he accounts for predators, reproduction, things of that nature, how you take care of young. So like F tier stuff, or like cheetahs were F tier. I know we kind of talked about cheetahs recently, so they were like definitely F tier.
They were really like just the bottom. Oh, poor guys.
Yeah, cheetahs were F tier. I mean, yeah, they don't and it's cool because he like shows like the animal's build, so he calls them like a build, and you can see like intelligence, stealth, defense, power.
That sounds really funny.
Yeah, it's so informative, and it's so like it's not like a bullshit page. You know what I mean? And it's so good. So yeah, that was on there. They had one on octopi. I know we kind of talked about that, Adam. So you might get a kick out of that.
Maybe I have to check that one out.
Yeah, really cool. His only drawback on octopi was like very high intelligent, not too high defense. I think they came out to C tier.
And
I think the C tier is because like they have a very high intelligence, but they don't pass that intelligence on to their children because they don't raise their children.
Yeah.
And that's what just like, while they'll never be able to dominate a server, like in his words, like, you know what I mean? Opposed to like killer whales or orcas, or you know what I mean? Because like, they have children and they're able to raise them and pass knowledge like how monkeys do and humans do.
Sure.
Yeah,
There are only so many species that do that. So super informative, dude. Really cool. If you're into animals, I'd check it out. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't have a ton either. Let me see here. What I forgot to mention on last week's pod, so I watched a little movie you guys might know called The Dark Knight.
Never heard of it.
Yeah,
So you don't
little
say.
small indie film. Filmed in
Fuck
Chicago.
out of here. Yeah, right.
Some lesser known actors.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger, one of them.
Yeah.
Christian Bale. He kind of blew up a little bit after his role there. But yeah, I rewatched that just about 2 weeks ago or so. Saw it scrolling on Netflix, and I was like, I see this a lot, and I can't think of anything else I'd rather click on right now than that. Because, you see it every once in a while. I go, oh, yeah, that's a good movie, but I'm not
Sure.
I've seen that before. I'm not going to watch it. And I saw it, and I was like, that sounds like it hit the spot exactly, and it did. It still holds up, obviously. You thought it was going to go, you thought my 15th, 16th, maybe 20th time watching that film was going to be worse. Nope. It's still right there. But when I was watching it, almost as a precursor to the Batman, I'm just trying to get a refresher on. Obviously, that's number 5 still, maybe on my top 10 movies of all time. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
not a favorite superhero movie and everything. So I'm just trying to get like a little gauge, a little rewatch of The Dark Knight to see how the Batman this weekend kind of compares.
Good point to rewatch
yeah.
it though. That's something that
Yeah.
even like it crossed my mind a little bit, but then I was like, I don't know if I want to devote all that time, but I probably should, to be honest, now that you said it.
It's only about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Did you watch?
So,
Or go ahead.
I don't know. You're good. What were you gonna say?
I would say, did you also watch like Batman Begins?
I didn't.
Okay.
Because that's also on Netflix, and so I watched that one, and then once I watched that one, that one popped up after, and I was like, that one just doesn't sound nearly as good as it's still a good movie. I've seen it a few times, and I don't think it's bad, but I just The Dark Knight sounded like it was going to be the perfect movie to watch, and it was, and then I was like, all right, that's my fill. I'm good. I don't need to watch more. And so I'm just going to wait for the Batman, but I'm excited to see how that compares, and it was nice rewatching it because now I have, like I said, I can gauge how good I feel like this one is compared to that one, or potentially better.
Awesome.
But that would be very hard to do because that movie is still so good.
Favorite scene on your 30th rewatch? That movie's so quotable too, by the way.
Yeah. I still love. This has been my favorite scene before, and I just loved rewatching it. But the interrogation scene, where he's behind him.
Yeah.
He goes, never start with the head. Like,
yeah, it was like the victim gets woozy or something like that. Yeah.
He gets all confused. I think something like that. Yeah.
I'm feeling woozy here. Crossover.
So yeah, that has,
I just got that reference to that. It had to register to me for a minute.
I also got to we already talked about Genius. It's actually like episode 2 has confirmed that that's actually like a good documentary. Like I'm really into it. It's not like amazing. It's no Last Dance. Let me tell you, it's no Last Dance. It's no Driver's 5, but it's still really good, and it made me. I'm someone who likes Kanye, but don't think he's like the second coming of hip hop Jesus or whatever. Like some people do, but I've started to like more, and I've gone back and listened to more of his music since watching this, just because I'm like, curious, maybe give it a second chance, kind of knowing a little bit more about how he got started and everything. And so I have started to like him a little bit more since watching this. I am excited to see what they do with episode 3, as we talked about before. And then the last thing I got to on my list was Euphoria season 2 finale. It wasn't nearly as crazy as I thought it was going to be, but it was still pretty intense. A lot of things happened. They kind of ended a lot of storylines. They set up some things for season 2, kind of put some characters in interesting position, set up things for season 3, and then put some characters in some interesting positions. Have any of you guys watched this or caught up or thought about catching up?
No.
No,
Okay.
You're talking to the minority for sure, because most of the world watched this.
Yeah, I feel like that
nobody else on
too.
this podcast does. So
That's just disappointing. I wanted to do a bit of sizzle on season 2, but I don't know if I'll have anyone to do it with.
Give me a few months, man. I might meet you
A
there.
few months? Okay.
Yeah,
when,
A few
when all the
months.
Twitter buzz is at an all-time low. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good timing on that one. We're really on top of it. Yeah, I really like season 2 overall. I might like it more than season 1 in some aspects, and in other aspects, I think it does a lot, and some of it doesn't land for me. But overall, I really did enjoy the season. It's really, really good. The finale was solid, like 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Yeah. They did a more interesting thing. Like they did some things I didn't even expect them to do. But I'm down for it, and I am very excited for season 3 whenever that comes out. Probably 2024, if I had to guess, another year and a half or so. Who knows? These people look very old at this point. I was thinking that as I was watching the finale. I was like, wow, none of these people look like they should be in high school.
Oh,
'cause
really?
at this point, since the first season was filmed, it was 2018, and so it's been
that's 4
it
years.
was 2 years since they filmed again, and so season 3, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know if they're supposed to be seniors in high school. I think maybe they are. But yeah, some of them are. I was just like, okay,
They'll
look
take
really,
a note
really
out
young.
of they'll take a page out of the Stranger
Yeah,
Things
sure,
book,
sure.
right?
Yeah, maybe
They're
they do a
fucking
time jump or
20
something.
filming that shit. So
Yeah. But yeah, Euphoria, still recommend to anyone who hasn't seen it. Nathaniel and Blake, I still recommend it to you guys as well. Tyler, is Leah into Euphoria at all?
Nope.
Huh. That feels like a show she might be into.
yeah, right. I agree, Adam. That's surprising.
Yeah. But besides that, the other thing I watched was The Power of the Dog. Welcome, listeners, to the main review segment of the podcast. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new, or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how our review segment works?
Hello, everyone. If you are new, or maybe you've just forgotten, this is how this works here on Back Row Banter. Our main review segment is split up into 2 sections. It's non-spoilers, and then it's spoilers. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over its IMDb page, who's in it, all that good stuff. We'll go around the squadron and see if we recommend this movie. Yes, has to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. And then after that, it's going to be spoiler time. If you don't want to have it spoiled for you, come back later on in the episode at a timestamp and listen to the rest of the episode so we can find out where it ranks up on our entropy list. Other than that, Adam, tell me about The Power of the Dog.
I would love to, Nathaniel. This is a relatively new movie. Came out last year, got nominated for Best Picture, and I believe both Cumberbatch and Kirsten Dunst are nominated for Oscars. I don't know what other ones they're nominated for, though. It's Best Director, potentially. I don't remember if Jane Campion, who directs this film, Jane Campion.
12 Oscars. Got Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role for Cody Smith-McPhee, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Achievement in Directing, Best Picture, excuse me. Also, Supporting Role for Jesse Plemons. Lead role for...
Love that, man.
I'm guessing that's, Cumberbatch for lead role, actress Kirsten Dunst, production design, sound, cinematography, film editing, and music.
Cool.
Cleaned up.
Yeah, I agree with all those. Those are all very worthy nominations. Let's see here. Rated R, runtime of 2 hours and 6 minutes, and an IMDb rating of 6.9 out of 10. A little low for Oscar nom, but also not super surprising because this isn't a movie for everyone.
For sure.
I would say kind of right off the bat here. In fact, Papa Schwartz gave this a 6 out of 10 when I talked to him earlier this week.
Interesting.
Which is interesting. The IMDb summary reads as follows: charismatic rancher Phil Burbank inspires fear and awe in those around him. When his brother brings home a new wife and her son, Phil torments them until he finds himself exposed to the possibility of love.
Ooh.
It's a pretty good IMDb summary, except it gets tends a little bit too much towards one way. This is a great movie, I feel like, to kind of go in blind. And honestly, the trailers don't even really tell you what the story's about. At least I watched the trailer and couldn't really figure it out. And for the first 25 minutes of this movie, I was like, what's going on? They don't explain a lot in the outset of it, and you kind of just gotta pick it up as you go, which you definitely do. But yeah, right off the bat, it doesn't really catch you up a lot. Let's see. Directed, of course, by Jane Campion, written by Jane Campion, and based on a novel by Thomas Savage. Starring Benedict Cumberbatch as Phil, Kirsten Dunst as Rose, both of which got nominees. So did Jesse Plemons for his role as George Burbank, and Cody Smith McPhee as Peter Gordon. Those are really the four main characters and four main roles. And you just said, Nathaniel, all four of them got nominated, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of attests for the prowess of this movie. And then, of course, Jane Campion for directing. And then the music in this is really, really good. And I'm glad to see that got a nom as well.
Yeah, he's a member of Radiohead.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's cool. Because it's not like rock and roll music. If you heard that and thought it was, it's not. It is more. It does fit the time of what is this supposed to be set, like the 1920s?
Yeah, 1925.
1925. Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's all for IMDb summary, unless I'm missing anything. I'm interested to see what you guys have to think about this, because I could see all three of you going very different directions. Nathaniel, I'm going to start with you. You said you had a lot to say before pod.
Yeah, well, I guess there's just a lot to talk about in this movie, I think, overall. I watched about the first, because this movie's divided into chapters.
Mm-hmm.
We're in non-spoilers still, aren't we?
Yes. But that's not really that much of a spoiler.
Yeah, it's that. Okay, fair enough.
Ruined it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
I'll have to cut that one. Shit.
I think I watched the first 3 chapters on my iPad in my hotel room while I was waiting for my dad to get out of the hospital. But and I just was like, I cannot get into this. I'm just not having a good time right now. And then I finished the rest of it today when I got home, and I loved it. And I really, really enjoyed the back half of this movie, but it was one I went into pretty this and I'm thankful for that, but I did have to kind of struggle the first little bit of it, I would say.
That's definitely something I would say is this movie's a very slow burn. And I agree with you. I was not enjoying this movie for the first third or so. Just because, like I said, they don't explain much to you. You're kind of confused with what's going on. It felt like this story might have a bigger stake or bigger scale than it actually did at the beginning, and then you kind of realize it stays at a small scale, which eventually pays off. It definitely pays
absolutely.
off. But you're kind of expecting this at the beginning to kind of maybe go somewhere bigger or have involve bigger themes and events, and it doesn't, and so that kind of leaves about 30 minutes in this movie. I was at least a little disappointed. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, I thought this might happen, this kind of thing. It go there, and it doesn't. But then stick with it. If you stick it out, I think it does pay off in the end for sure.
Yeah, I would think I would say I'm in a similar boat. I'm definitely going to recommend, but yeah, understanding that this is definitely not going to be for everyone.
Not at all.
But all of that being said, it's a movie that it kept me guessing up until the end, and then it even past that a little bit. You know, it's just definitely one that sticks with you after that. So, recommend for me. Interested to see what the other boys here think.
Yeah, Blake.
Actually, kind of had a similar experience as Nathaniel. I started that. I think when I texted the group chat with the fellas, was that Monday? So I started Monday night, and it just wasn't hitting the spot for me at first. And I was like, I'll try it again tomorrow. So I got maybe about 40 minutes through, and then I ended up watching it today. When I finished, when I got off work today, and kind of booted it up to watch it, and it was, I liked it. I mean, it's certainly slow, and I think that's why I was pretty much on the fence when I first watched it. I think you kind of hit on the head when you said this isn't a film for everybody, because that's certainly got to be your genre, and kind of your thought process and how you review film, and that's not really for me. I would say this isn't something I would pick out myself. So it's good, right? Obviously, you can see the themes of like grief and love and things of that nature and lust. So it is interesting, and it is a good film, 100%. I don't know if I'll rewatch it again, to be honest with you, though. So we'll deep dive into more once we get to spoilers. But yeah, overall, I do like it. It's a good film. Probably not for everybody, but that's what I gotta say. Ty.
It has some redeemable qualities. Overall, if somebody asked me about this movie, I'd be probably more on the line of, you can watch it if you want, but I'm not telling you to. I think you guys really kind of brought up one of the bigger issues is it just starts so slow.
For sure.
And I think without reading the book, you probably don't know. And obviously, when you have these book to movie translations, there's a lot left on the table that could really help. And this is good for the most part. I think I enjoyed myself maybe for the last 30 minutes. The rest of it, I kind of already played out what was going on. And yeah, we can get into it a little bit more, but for me, I'm probably going to be a not recommend.
Huh. That doesn't completely shock me, but I did think you'd still be on the recommend side.
Prepare to be shocked.
I'll say right off the bat, I'm personally recommend, as I've already kind of shared a little bit of my thoughts. But yeah, I think the payoff towards the end of this movie, as we'll get into in spoilers, is well worth that build up to it. And eventually, you kind of learn that keeping it on the small scale that it is it plays to that advantage, and it really it doesn't waste the fact that it's just these four characters that you're kind of observing for the most part. It does everything it can with it. Great acting all around, great directing. There's quite a few shots in this where I was like, wow, I do really like what's going on here, and it's a lot of subtle stuff that some people might not notice without it being pointed out, but just the camera placement where they decide to put the camera in and what they show you with each shot is very intentional, as you can tell, and the music isn't good as well, as I mentioned earlier. That kept me very interested, honestly, throughout most of this. Felt like it matched the tone very well, but also matched the time period, and they did a good blending of the two. And then Cumberbatch is just like, wow. We talked about last week with Tom Holland and how you could see like Spider-Man in his Uncharted performance. And in this one, I mean, obviously I've seen Cumberbatch in other things besides Doctor Strange, but that's been the thing I've seen him in the most recently in the past like 3 or 4 years. Like I just kind of refer to Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, and this movie, I don't see him as that at all. Like I didn't really think about him playing Doctor Strange until after I finished this movie, and I was like, wow, I didn't see any of that in him, and I think that's a testament to his performance in the movie, and so I'm very glad he got the nomination for it. But then Kirsten Dunst, of course, her character, I didn't expect her character to go where she does, and we'll say more of that for spoilers. Jesse Plemons, I've said on the podcast before, is one of my favorite actors. I'm so glad he's getting more and more roles recently, and got a nomination for this because he's should get more. I still really like everything he's in. He's got a subtlety to his acting where he doesn't necessarily play the same character every single time, but he's not playing every character super differently. And every character he plays does feel distinct, but it's not like he's doing crazy method acting or getting super into character or anything like that. But he also, like I said, at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's just Jesse Plemons every role. He's very good about that.
I think it's just because he's not like one of those typical like A-lister, like I'm like the super good looking like guy. He's just like, he looks like a regular guy.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely it. And so he can bring that average guy kind of look to the characters he's playing without overdoing anything.
Kills it.
Yeah, he does every single time. And then Yeah, also a shout out to sorry, I forgot his name already. Cody Smith McPhee, who I hadn't seen him much before, but I looked at his IMDb. He plays the kid in the movie The Road. I haven't seen the movie, but I've read the book, and now I kind of want to go watch that movie. But anyway, he's great in this as well. Like I said, I do think this movie does everything it can with just having 4 characters be the main plot points. Yeah, I'd like to see kind of more stuff along those lines. Just keep it small scale, maybe with only a few characters. I liked it a lot. Recommend for sure. Again, not for everybody, but if you told me should I watch this movie, yes or no, definitely a yes. 2 hours and 6 minutes runtime isn't short, but it doesn't feel too long once you get past those first 30 or 40 minutes. There is definitely a turning point. A little bit, like I would say, like close to halfway through this movie, there's a turning point where you start to feel that tension build a little bit more, and you start to really understand what's going on, and then from there it does kind of take off. So I think that's 3 recommends and 1 no. Blake, you said you recommend, right?
Yeah, I'd recommend. It's a good film.
Yeah. All right, so 3 to 1 here on the recommend scale from the squadron. We're going to go ahead and head into spoilers. So if you've not seen The Power of the Dog and you do not want it spoiled for you, go ahead, check the episode description where I've left a timestamp you can jump to, where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie up upon our Entropy list.
Hop upon.
Spoilers.
Shit goes
Shit
down.
goes down.
Very slowly.
Very, very slowly. Is that your biggest gripe with this?
I think so.
You're just bored? You're just bored?
Yeah.
Baby.
It does
I'll
feel
tell
like there's
you.
going to be some action that happens at the beginning of this movie when he comes in, he's all cowboyed
Right.
up, and you're like, oh shit, Cumberbatch, like, oh, he's a cowboy, like this is gonna be awesome. And then they get on the horses, they got the cattle, they're moving across country, and then it's just like, oh, they're eating dinner at like the town.
I'm okay with it not being like over actiony. I grew up on like a lot of westerns. My grandpa was like all about the old stuff. Like he'll still sit down and watch like all the 70s, 80s westerns from way back in the day. So I remember watching those on like a flat screen, and they're still like super fuzzy because like the film is just not very good from back then. But and like there's a lot of romance in those too, and I totally get that for this as well. And I think they do a really good job for certain things, but man, it's just brutally slow. I kind of the way I gauge that is how much I'm on my phone. I really try to stay off my phone, and if you got me captivated, I don't even know where my phone's at. If you're just kind of like I'm chugging along, just like man. And it's funny that you guys are like, oh, I got like 20 minutes in and I wasn't feeling it. I got like 20 minutes in and I had to pause because I had to go to the bathroom. I came back and I looked at the clock and it was only 20 minutes as it like elapsed. And I was like, fuck, it feels like an hour. I was like, where am I right now? So mine was like reverse of what everybody else's was. But I watched it in one full sitting. This film is insanely gorgeous.
Yeah.
The Montana landscape is absolutely breathtaking. The clouds, the sun, the lighting, whether you're in the house, out of the house, at nighttime or daytime, they do a phenomenal job. Like you guys have also said, acting was really good. I feel like I didn't really get a whole lot from Kirsten Dunst. I feel like everybody else might be, on a different page. Yeah, she was a lush. She was just drunk. And, I understand she had her own like mental stuff that she was kind of going through. And then you see her transition basically going into being an alcoholic. And obviously you find out later that her husband at some point, past husband, killed himself. And I understand where she's come from, but you don't get any of that backstory from her. So it just kind of looks like she's just running around drunk the whole time.
Well, she's driven to drink. He breaks her into drinking.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying, she's just you don't get a lot. She's just crying. She's laying in bed. She's got a headache. She says a couple of lines. I feel like you could have been a little bit more out of that. I do like the way that the whole time when she is basically drinking or kind of pushed to do something where she's maybe a little distressed or whatever, you kind of hear him in the background. You always hear his footsteps or him moving something or his little whistle. And it's cool. It's very creepy. It's very tensiony. And I think Cumberbatch is probably the best part about this movie. Dude fucking kills it. After seeing my little clip of him doing his voices for Smog, because like there's clips of him like crawling around on the fucking ground like a dragon.
Right.
The way he does things is just insane. This actually gets me excited for Doctor Strange because he's obviously got to play two different strangers in that, and this is going to be really cool to see how creepy he can actually get.
What if we see Phil in Doctor Strange? Like, what the hell?
I mean, anything goes in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, multiverse is crazy.
It's just other Cumberbatch characters
Yeah.
that's played.
Sherlock Holmes.
It's not even a Marvel movie. It's just all him and different characters.
Clemens, McAfee, I think they did really great too. Like I said, I think this is laid out really well. I think it has a lot more potential than I think is what I'm at least seeing there. But overall, the story and everything is really good. I like where you get the background of Cumberbatch and his love interests, and where that obviously goes. And did you guys know he was going to die?
What at what point? I mean, yes, to a certain point, I knew. I knew he was going to die at a certain point. I don't know how early you're talking about. How early did you pick it out?
Almost immediately after his hand started bleeding.
Yeah, that's kind of when I picked up. He's like, "Oh, that looks really bad, Phil." I was like,
My biggest thing was he's like, it's just a splinter. And like him trying to be like a manly man, he's never going to say, like his hand hurts or anything like that. And splinters will actually fuck you up if you don't get them taken care of. And back in the day, you just didn't think anything of it. He's a farmhand.
Well, it's not that.
Well, it's not ultimately the splinter that kills him.
No, I know. It's because he obviously puts his hand in the water that's infested from the body that the kid took from the dead cow. But I mean, ultimately, that's part of his pride, not taking care of something so small.
Well, he was always too. Sorry, Waz just came out of the room and looked like someone like shot him. He was very upset. He says he's always careful to never touch animals or decomposing animals, and like even earlier when he's castrating the other bull, he's doing it barehanded, and it's because he's always so careful with all of that stuff. And it was obviously the one time he tried to show any kindness to anyone that killed him.
Yep.
But I don't know. I disagree. I actually with a lot of what you're saying. I think this movie is really good. I think it kept me captured by the strength of the performances at the end of it. I think the landscape is amazing, but it was filmed in New Zealand actually, not in Montana, because it's set in Montana, but it's filmed in New Zealand.
Well, it looks a lot like Montana, especially back in the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But there's one part in there when I think they're going somewhere where I was like, that's from Two Towers. That's the warg scene from Two Towers where they're being attacked.
I had to point out the dog too on the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say? I really liked where the story ended up going with this one. I think this is actually a movie that is really hurt by being on Netflix. I think if it was in a theater, none of us would be on our phones, and I think it would have been much more engrossing. I think this on a giant screen like that would have been much more kind of in capturing and everything. But yeah, having it on my iPad yesterday, I was just like, I can't watch this movie like this.
I can agree with that.
I definitely agree. I was about honestly not even that far into this movie, and I was like, wow, this is kind of disappointing. I can't see it on the big screen, especially when you look into like the audio design of this with the boots and everything like that, and the clanking and all that stuff. Like that'd be awesome to hear in like a Dolby Atmos theater, something like that. And so I do wish I could have seen this on a big screen.
To piggyback off what Tyler was saying too, Benedict Cumberbatch is so threatening in this without ever like. This is a Western movie where there's never a gun fired. I don't think there's any shots fired in this movie. He's so creepy in this though too.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Zodiac at certain points, like in a weird way, and just kind of like the way he was threatening people, and that kind of like, I'm smarter than you, but I'm just gonna drive you crazy, and just because you've annoyed me, kind of thing. And then obviously there's a lot of depth to his character and kind of why everything is happening. But I thought this movie was a really great examination of just letting actors go and letting the performances come through. Thought it was all really, really good. And Cody Smith McPhee makes a great psychopath.
True. Did you read the book at all?
No.
Are you going to?
Maybe. I don't think so though. This seems like one, and it came out in like 1947, so I'm sure and Jane Campion adapted it, so I'm sure it like has been updated in a lot of really good ways. I'm not sure if I'd love the book version of this, to be honest with you. But following up my we always talk about using the IMDb summary. Whenever I watch a movie, the second thing I go to is the IMDb trivia. And there's just some insane things you find in the IMDb trivia sometimes. And here's my favorite from this week's one, from The Power of the Dog. It goes like this. Pete, Cody Smith McPhee, mentions to Rose, Kirsten Dunst, that he made a friend at school who calls him, quote, doctor. And Pete calls his friends, quote, professor, because that's a profession each aspires to be. Here we go. Julius Erving, of professional basketball fame, has given a similar story in interviews over the years to explain how his popular nickname, quote, Dr. J, came about. He had a friend in college who he had called the professor, who in return called him the doctor. Why is that in the trivia? That's the dumbest thing I've ever read.
I was like, is there some kind of connection they're trying to make?
No. It just complete left turned into Dr. J, professional basketball player.
It makes sense.
Oh, man. IMDb sometimes, dude.
But yeah. I finished this movie now, and I was like, this is a great one for me going in blind, and was much more intense, really, than I thought it was going to be or had any right to be. But I thought it was really clever, and yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it was. You don't see any. Like in the first 30 minutes that we were so bored with, I just couldn't see any of this coming and how they're gonna build it up. And so when they slowed it down a lot, and then you get that tension break, when the biggest thing that turn in tension is definitely when she starts to play the piano and he's playing the banjo and he comes down. That was when I was like, all right, this movie's about to get good. And then you see Kirsten Dunst, you see Rose sneak in some more alcohol and stuff, and from then on, I was like, I was definitely gripped. It's a very interesting point that I hadn't really considered, Nathaniel, about how this is like he's so menacing without actually giving any act of menace, as far as like violence or ever hurting anyone or anything like that. He is just an asshole, but he's so threatening in that. And his presence, his screen presence, you can just feel that in the room, like, and that's also not just him. That is also Rose and Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons and Scotty or McPhee. What was his first name?
Cody.
Their reactions to when they hear him or see him or anything like that, it just tells you everything you need to know about the character. So that's not just Cumberbatch. It's a lot of it, but it's also the other actors that tip that as well. No, I just thought this story developed so well, and then for a while I kind of thought it was going to be a showdown between Rose and Phil, and then it kind of starts to change to a showdown between Rose and Peter, or sorry, Phil and Peter, and then it's almost the three of them and everything. Yeah, it was really, really good. Did you guys know? I couldn't tell when Peter goes to the dead cow carcass. And obviously, it's anthrax. They set that up earlier. It's like he should stay away from it. Did you guys know he was doing that intentionally? Because I just thought, oh, he's a stupid. Like, I think they probably. My reaction was he's dumb for doing this. Like, he doesn't know that the cow is diseased. Did you guys know that he was doing it intentionally?
It wasn't something that I picked, but it was one of the things that, like, at the turn at the end, once it was kind of revealed that he did do a purpose, then it triggered me back to when he says, "Oh, I'll take care of this for you. I don't want you to have to go through this." And then he's looking through the textbook and, like, you're expecting it to be alcoholism that he's, like, looking up, but it was like that crazy anthrax burns or cirrhosis that they get or whatever on there. And then that just makes sense again afterwards. After so this is definitely a corkscrew twist, I think, rather than a loop-to-loop twist overall. Yeah. To go back to the Gingrich theory, the Gingrich coaster theory.
What's a twist?
Did you think he was building up to kill the kid, or was he just trying to drive him away from his mom and just isolate her more?
I think he was driving it to isolate him from.
I agree.
Yeah, and initially
like a mental torture.
Yeah, initially when he started being more friendly towards Peter, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you a rope and everything," I was like, "Oh, he's definitely killing this kid." And then he goes, "Oh, let's follow those trails to the edge of the cliff."
Yeah,
like that. But then slowly, you kind of see when I think that might have been his intentions initially,
right?
But he sees her in the alley and sees her drinking, and I think that's when he realizes the opportunity he has to kind of manipulate her, because she's the real issue that he has for the most part, because she doesn't want him here, or sorry, he doesn't want her there. Is being a gold digger as he thinks she is. So yeah, I think that I interpreted that almost as he may have started off with the intention of, oh, I'm gonna just kill this kid maybe to get back at Rose, but then he realized he can break her further by befriending her, by befriending Peter.
Did you think he figured out that it was bad rope that was killing him at the end? Because remember, he goes and grabs the ropes and he's like, "Where's the kid? Where's the kid?" And then drops it. Do you think he's, like, figuring that out? Or do you think he just wanted, he was actually like starting to care for the kid and wanted to give it to him and everything?
I think he was genuinely.
I also agree. I think
worried about where he was.
Yeah,
and wanted to give him the rope.
Yep, I agree. That's kind of the what I got from his delivery of it, because I feel like if he was angry and knew it, I think the performance would have reflected that a little bit more.
Okay.
Whereas it was looked like genuinely he just was trying to get that rope to the kid as, like, probably the last thing he'd do.
Thomas and Mackenzie underused in this, but
that's what I was.
Yeah, she definitely is.
That's what I was gearing up to say. I'm sorry, I thought I was muted.
You're good.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes in, and I was like, when the fuck is Thomas and Mackenzie gonna be here? And she, like, I finally saw her. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So, that's funny. I noticed that as well.
Was it me, or was her accent all over the shop in this one? Like, I just felt like I couldn't get a beat on it. What if she was playing like a foreign person there, or if she was going for the American accent? It just sounded really tricky to my ear, but could have been.
Yeah, anything. I caught on that a little bit. Funny enough, you said this is filmed in New Zealand. Is she from New Zealand?
She might be.
Yeah, I thought I read that. I could be.
She easily could be
bias.
Yeah, it could be because we're thinking of Jojo Rabbit too, which she was in, which is from Taika, who's famously Kiwi.
All right. Anybody got any other big thoughts they want to mention?
No, man. I think we're ready to put it on the list.
Ready to put her up there? How do you guys, really quick, how good of a chance do you guys think this has at getting some Oscar noms? I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have seen the other movies.
I'm sure Cumberbatch will get something.
Yeah, I really do think his performance is great.
I think everybody did a good job, like I said, for the most part. I just think he was obviously the standout.
For sure.
I mean, I could potentially see this winning Best Picture. It would have to be, depending on how West Side Story is, though. I think there's a good chance.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Again,
too.
Hollywood loves Hollywood.
Yeah, and they love Spielberg, and
but again, and like we always say, like, this is something different to me, and it is something new on there that I haven't seen before, and I think these are the kind of movies that we should be rewarding. So,
I agree. All right. Well, welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and rank the power of the dog up upon the Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. This is essentially how we rate our movies rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you'd like to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description where it is linked to my Letterboxd.
Tough one this week.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and I it's gonna be interesting where it finishes because it seems like Tyler was much lower than the rest of us on it.
Agreed.
And I don't know also where Blake goes related to me and Nathaniel, so who knows? All right. You know what, Ty? I'm gonna kick it on over to you since you do seem like you're gonna be the outlier here. Do you have an idea of where you're gonna put it yet?
I don't. I'm trying to get a good feel for what's on here and kind of what we've done, and I really don't have a good spot for this.
All right, Blake, Nathaniel, do either of you guys have a good spot?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull the list up really quick.
You know what? I found it.
Okay.
I found my spot. I'll just go ahead and let it read.
Talk to me.
23. Above
23.
The Conjuring, below Training Day.
Whew.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm kind of looking at that late 20 spot, or like 20, 21. I'm like, not better than Kill Bill. Probably not better than Training Day. Denzel's pretty fucking good. And then I was like, The Conjuring, Scream, Boys in the Hood. Like, I was like, you know what? I did enjoy this movie a lot more than most of those.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was it sounded high, but then now that I got the list pulled up, I can see how you could fit it in there, right? From a logic sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly not that high, I'll tell you that much.
Sure.
But
I mean, there's definitely some movies below that point where I feel like, okay, maybe this one instead of that one. But by and large, I feel like the movies following 23, I did enjoy this one more than most of those.
Okay. Anyone else want to go? You want me to let it rip?
Go ahead, Blake.
I'll go. All right, I'm trying not to be biased here because I do like Malignant, but I won't do that. I'll go. I'll go 37. So right after Nightmare Alley.
And above Frozen 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Solid and respectable. Can't be mad at all. Do you have any particular justification for it?
Nope. Maybe.
It's okay if you don't.
Like, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Yeah. It did sound like he might have got cut out there for a second because I don't think he hit his mute button.
Interesting.
Technical difficulties on this side, folks.
Oh. Still can't hear you.
No.
Oh, there you are.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Justification for that. I mean, I think I like Nightmare Alley a little bit more, kind of for the same slow burn, not too much kind of action going on. Obviously, Nightmare Alley gets a little more into that towards the tail end. But that's kind of my justification on it. And then I really like District 9, to be honest with you. So it was kind of hard to put it above that. And then I think it just would have been biasness if I would have put it under Malignant because a lot of people hate that movie. So I couldn't do that much, but I think that's where I'll fit it at.
Okay. Fair.
Adam, or excuse me, Nathaniel. Adam already went.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be not as high as Adam.
Yeah.
Blake, you actually kind of hit it on the head where I started looking. Actually, originally I looked down and saw Last Night in Soho and was kind of looking in that area. Then I saw Nightmare Alley. But I can't put this one above Pig. I think that's my kind of cutoff point with this guy. Nightmare Alley is one I think I would watch again before I watch this one. But I think this is probably the more important / better movie at this point. I think I'm going to put this 35, right above
35.
District 9, right below Paid in Full.
Okay. I could accept that.
And I'm also trying, I also am like cognizant of the fact that I watched this movie today too. So I'm trying not to kind of like I'm trying to wonder how I will feel in the next couple days too, particularly because, as I've said so many times, I started this movie and didn't really feel like I got to enjoy the first part of it, but then really, really enjoyed the back half. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see how this one ages.
Me as well.
Tyler?
I'm struggling with The Last Duel.
Okay.
Because this is in that same vein. It's a little bit of a slow burn. You got like a little bit of mind unfolding you kind of got to do to kind of figure it out a little bit. And I don't want to put it that low because from a critical standpoint, like I said, I don't hate this movie. It's just a couple things that keep me from being able to recommend. Doesn't mean that it's not a good movie. And I think it has a lot of redeemable qualities. So I don't want to put it that low. But this is obviously from a critical standpoint better than Frozen. Better than Frozen 2. So I think I'm gonna be with Blake. I like Nightmare Alley more than this, and I can honestly say that I also didn't recommend Malignant, so I will put this at 37.
37. So above Frozen 2 and below Nightmare Alley as well. All right. Well, I guess I was the outlier apparently. I really like this movie. I mean, I do think it's gonna be interesting how this ages. This potentially could be one we reflect on and go, oh, maybe not quite where it was at, but I do still think this is really, really good. Averaging out all of our rankings, it gets slotted at 33. An even cut 33.
I wonder how this would be if we had been forced to watch this in like the Dolby Theater or something like that.
I agree.
I think this is definitely a film that I need you to see.
Which is so funny because Netflix is making these great movies now. You're this, you're Roma, you're The Irishman.
Yeah.
All three of those need to be in a theater. Like there is no doubt in my mind all three of those movies should be in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Weird stuff. We just need to build more home theaters, folks. Call me at Best Buy.
Shameless.
Yeah, right. That was great. Great segue.
That was great. All right. Well, we have The Power of the Dog slotted in there at number 33 on the Entropy list, below Dr. Sleep and above Weathering with You, which I'm not like that mad about. I do like Weathering with You. If this was above Your Name, that's the one I'd be like, all right, we got to talk. We gotta have an intervention here on Entropy list.
Sure.
But yeah.
Solid, I can live with it being under Dr. Sleep too.
I'm okay with that.
Very much like that movie.
See, that's the one where I'm like, all right, this should be above Dr. Sleep. You guys like it a lot more than I do. But teach their own. All right, well that's it for the review segment here. And boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, next week's review, The Batman.
I'm Batman.
As we kind of talked about a little bit earlier in what we're watching. But that's going to be a 3-hour long flick. So, cut a chunk of time out of your schedule this weekend because you're going to want to go see this movie. As far as the reviews are concerned, 94% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, or at least what I saw earlier today. I don't know if that's changed at all, but it's not flopping so far. It is living up to the hype. So I'm very excited for this. I'll be seeing this probably on Friday. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, go out, watch it this weekend or sometime next week, and join us for our review. Nathaniel, 5-star review.
We certainly do, and we're getting, a little bit close to our end of our list here. So if folks do want to give us a 5-star review, please do that in Apple Podcasts, and if you do so, we will read it out on the podcast here. Doesn't have to be mean, doesn't have to be nice, doesn't have to be funny. Please be funny in general, but just don't be evil, and we'll read it out here, but only if it's 5 stars. And this week we got one from Maximus Lowe, who says, actually useful I'm going to guess it's entertaining podcast. Who knows? Another one of those ones where the title got cut off. But 5 stars, as always. It says, these guys are the best. It's so refreshing to hear younger guys talk about movies and anything entertainment. Younger guys. How nice. Back Row Banter keeps me up to date with the entertainment industry, and their reviews discuss the real depths of the movies. I was so tired of hearing others critique movies without looking at the big picture. These guys are the best, and this is my favorite podcast to listen to during late nights. Ooh, Maximus.
Ooh, hey.
Well, hello, KYOT, the coyote. Yeah, but there it is, folks. Give us 5 stars. We'll read it out here on the podcast. If you want to hear something read out or, make a joke at us, do whatever you want. 5 stars. What's next on the list? Is it time to share the podcast?
It is time to share the podcast. It's always time to share the podcast. There's never a bad time to do so. Go ahead, share the podcast with a friend, a family member, maybe a lonesome cowboy that you find out there on the ranch in New Zealand. Or his brother, who's a very handsome ginger fellow.
Maybe you're out there castrating a bull.
Okay.
Balls in one hand, phone in the other, and you gotta hand one to your fellow cowboy, and you decide to be nice and go with the phone, but you just want to pull up something first for them to listen to, so you hand them our new episode on the power of the dog, and man, that scene just stuck with me, is what I'm trying to say there.
I was like, all right, do I need to look away right now? No, it wasn't that bad. I've seen worse than the Euphoria season finale. Or season 2 in general. Let me tell you.
Really,
dude, you haven't seen season 2. Does that pique your interest?
No,
Trust me, this shit that show goes bad.
The thing is, it's not good.
His face right now is just disgust.
It's
more like concern.
It's just
bit sizzle, ladies and gentlemen.
That's fine.
I kind of want to watch it, but I don't know how much of it would be hate watching it too.
Look, if you wanna, you can hate watch it, and let's bit a sizzle.
I think I know.
Yeah,
he just wants somebody to talk to.
I know. That's also what it is too.
You won't do it. You won't do it. You fucking hate watch it. You fucking won't
do it. Spend 8 hours watching it. You won't. Oh my god!
I just finished The Wire too.
on top of sharing the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and subscribe to us on YouTube. We're just Back Row Banter there. Send us any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, anything of the sort to backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Yes, sir. Letterboxd. I'll be on there logging some stuff. BlakeHolder. I don't even know if I said that. I'm sorry. I just completely lost my train of thought. So my Letterboxd is BlakeHolder. I will be on there logging movies and rating them out of 5 stars. I think I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer may be my lowest starring yet. Either that or
so funny.
Both incredibly awful movies. So we'll see what I'll put up next for a review. Maybe the Batman. So yeah, we'll see what's going on with that one. That's all I got. I'll pass it off to Ty.
Hey, what's up? You can find me at Twitch every now and then. I've been getting pretty regular with it. So, and I do have more Pokemon cards to open, so we'll see if we'll get around to that. I've been having a real good time with this new set. So that's twitch.tv/eltrabajo87, and then Letterboxd, Twitter, and what's the other one? Instagram. Our all Tyler Vidalis, Vidales. I did start a new Instagram for my Pokemon stuff. So if you want to go follow
Ooh.
that, be my guest. I'm literally just posting cards on there that I have or are pulling or have had for a long time. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. That's PokeTie87. And yeah, that's all I got. Nathaniel?
What up, folks? You can follow me on Twitter and Letterboxd at @Gingrich. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Sandpiper tapes are always out there. And yeah, big stream for Tyler with the Pokemon draw the other day. Actually,
That was cool.
That I was featured in the background on. That was always fun.
You were. You even pulled some cards.
I did. Poorly, I might add. But I did. So we had.
Come on, man. Give yourself more credit. It's been a while.
But I was just saying, we had half the squadron, and we had 3/4 of Cream Team there all at the same time. Yeah. So well represented for the boys.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's me. Who's next?
Schmadam.
The last one.
My last
Your
one.
lasty.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Aish24, on Letterboxd at Aish, and on Twitch, where I've been streaming a decent amount. It's twitch.tv/Aish. Come watch me play some Halo, because I love doing it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got here. Thank you guys for listening, especially if you're listening right now and you made it this far into the episode. That's awesome. You're my favorite type of listener. We do really appreciate it. And then join us next week for our review of The Batman. Our Bats is The Batman. We'll be RB.
Yeah, everybody, just hey, email us this week. Send us a question. Those were always fun. Other than that, be excellent to each other, and we will BRB.
Please like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, send. Just do whatever you got to do to help us grow. We really appreciate anything that you can do for us. And other than that, just be kind to people, man. There's a lot going on in the world. We need to spread more kindness. So we'll BRB.
Thanks for listening. As always, we appreciate the support. This month, I believe, is actually Women's Histories Month, which I came across online. So feel free to support anything with women, whether that's music directors, artistry, anything of that nature. Please go ahead and do that. And as I always say, as long as you're doing at least one thing you love every day, I think you're living the right way. So we'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
You guys see that season 4 Drive to Survive trailer?
I did.
Baby, can't wait. What we got next Friday, the 11th, I believe.
God, is it that soon?
Yeah. You mean it's that far? What kind of fan are you?
I got a whole Batman movie between now and then.
Yeah, I think I'm going Friday morning or Friday afternoon.
Okay. Dude, I was looking at tickets for that, just trying to figure out when I'm going to see that. The runtime on this bitch says like 3 hours. Bro. What the fuck?
Yeah. And honestly, you know what? It could be a Snyder Cut 4, and I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, I mean, I was relatively cool with it, to be honest with you, because I do want to see this movie. But I was like, Jesus, man, that's a lot of time to delegate for that. You know what I mean?
It is, because I was trying to figure out when to see it. My roommate Noah number 2.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to go see it Thursday night, and I was like, I don't think I can swing that. I don't get out of class, or I had stuff. I forgot what I had Thursday night, but I was like, I can't go to any of these showtimes.
I mean, this is one of those films where if you don't get to the night show by before like 8:30, there's no way I'm seeing this movie at nighttime.
Yeah. I'm going to I'm going to like a 2 or 1:30 on Friday. Like I am not
definitely
going in the evening.
Definitely. I think I'm gonna try to push it either Sunday afternoon or maybe like a Saturday morning or something.
Yeah.